The galaxy had existed for millennia with one fundamental truth. The Force governed all. Light and dark, life and death, destiny and chaos, all flowed through that mystical energy field, binding reality together. The Jedi had studied it for generations. The Sith had corrupted it for power. Every sentient being existed within its currents, whether they knew it or not. Then something impossible happened. High above Coruscant, where cruisers and transports traced elegant lines through regulated sky lanes, reality itself fractured. The first sign was a distortion, a ripple in space that made nearby clone pilots blink at their sensor readings, certain their equipment had malfed. Then came the light, a searing tear of red and gold that screamed across the upper atmosphere like a wound in the fabric of existence. It wasn't hyperspace emergence. This was wrong, chaotic, burning with energy signatures that made every scanning array within 100 kilometers shriek warnings. The tear spat out something small and tumbling. A figure in red and gold armor plummeted through Coruscant's atmosphere, trailing smoke and sparks, repulsors firing erratically as damaged systems fought to stabilize. The armor's occupant, a human named Tony Stark, who had absolutely no idea where he was or what had just happened, had exactly 3 seconds to register that he was falling toward the largest city he'd ever seen before Jarvis's voice crackled in his helmet. "Sir, multiple critical system failures. Repulsor output at 63%. Structural integrity compromised in—" "Yeah, I got the memo," Tony shouted, fighting for control as the world spun around him. Buildings stretched to impossible heights in every direction, metal and lights as far as the eye could see. No landmarks he recognized, no satellites responding to his queries. And something was very, very wrong with the sky. "Jarvis, where are we?" "Unknown, sir. All GPS satellites offline. Star charts do not match any known constellations. I am detecting, sir, multiple aircraft approaching at high speed." Tony managed to arrest his tumble, repulsors finally catching with a whine of protesting systems. He hovered unsteadily 3,000 meters above the city planet, and that's when he saw them. Sleek, angular fighters, unlike anything from Earth, their hulls painted in Republic red. They moved with purpose, weapon systems clearly active, and they were definitely interested in him. "Jarvis, translation protocols." "Sir, I'm receiving radio transmissions, but the language is completely unknown. No linguistic matches in my database." "Perfect. Just perfect." Tony's day had started with testing an experimental arc reactor upgrade in his Malibu workshop, something about quantum field harmonics that Pepper had warned him not to mess with. And now he was God knows where, being surrounded by alien fighter craft while his armor sparked and smoked. One of the fighters pulled alongside him, close enough that Tony could see the pilot. Humanoid, armored in white, helmet completely covering his face. The pilot gestured, universal language for, "Follow me or we'll shoot you down." And Tony didn't have many options. His armor was running on fumes, half his systems were fried, and he had no idea what these people were capable of. "Sir, I'm detecting energy weapon signatures on those craft. Recommend compliance." "Yeah, thanks for the tactical genius, Jarvis." Tony raised his hands in what he hoped was a universal gesture of cooperation and followed the fighters down. They guided him toward a massive building that dwarfed even the largest structures he'd seen. A temple of some kind, with distinctive architecture that spoke of age and purpose. As they descended, Tony's sensors picked up more details. The planet below was entirely urbanized as far as his damaged scanners could detect. Trillions of beings, countless species, technology that seemed simultaneously advanced and oddly archaic. No wireless networks he could access, no internet. What kind of civilization had faster-than-light fighters, but no basic data infrastructure? The fighters directed him to land on a broad platform where more white-armored soldiers waited, weapons ready but not aimed, professional, disciplined. And behind them stood two figures in robes, one older with a beard, radiating calm authority, and one younger with a distinctive scar and an intensity in his eyes that made Tony's instincts prickle. Tony's boots touched down, repulsors finally cutting out with a concerning sputter. His arc reactor hummed steady in his chest. Thank God that still worked, but he could feel the armor's power distribution was all wrong. Whatever that dimensional tear had been, it had done a number on his systems. The robed figures approached slowly, hands visible and empty, though Tony noticed something hanging from their belts that looked suspiciously like weapon hilts. The older one spoke, and Jarvis immediately began recording and analyzing. Unknown entity, you have entered Republic space during a time of war. I am Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. We mean you no harm, but we must ask, what are you, and where do you come from? The words were gibberish to Tony's ears, but he could read body language. Cautious but not hostile, curious, maybe a little concerned. He raised his faceplate, let them see he was human, or at least humanoid, and spoke clearly for Jarvis to translate once the AI cracked their language. My name is Tony Stark. I'm from Earth, though I'm guessing that doesn't mean anything to you. There was an accident with some experimental technology, and I ended up here. Wherever here is, he paused. And what's a Jedi? The two robed figures exchanged glances. The younger one, maybe late 20s, intense eyes, restless energy, stepped forward. You don't know what a Jedi is? What system are you from? What sector? Tony shook his head. I don't think we're talking about the same galaxy anymore. That got their attention. The older one, Obi-Wan, stroked his beard thoughtfully. Master Yoda should hear of this. Anakin, inform the Council. We have something unprecedented on our hands. The younger one, Anakin, nodded and pulled out a small cylindrical device, speaking into it rapidly. Tony's mind raced. Council, masters, military discipline, religious robes. This was either some kind of monk warrior society, or he'd stumbled into something much stranger. His arc reactor pulsed in his chest, its glow visible through the armor. Both Jedi noticed, their eyes tracking to the light with unmistakable interest. That device, Obi-Wan said carefully. It powers your armor? Among other things. Tony wasn't about to explain arc reactor technology to strangers, especially not when he was damaged, alone, and surrounded. Look, I don't want any trouble. I just want to figure out how I got here and how to get home. Of course, Obi-Wan said smoothly. But you've arrived at a complicated time. The Republic is at war with the Separatist Alliance. Your sudden appearance, with unknown technology, during an active conflict. He spread his hands apologetically. You understand our caution. Tony understood perfectly. He'd dealt with governments and military organizations his entire life. They saw a weapon first, a person second. And right now, he was a weapon they wanted to understand. I get it, Tony said. But I'm not your enemy. I'm not anyone's enemy here. I'm just lost. Anakin returned, his expression troubled. The Council wants to see him immediately. Master Windu is particularly interested. Obi-Wan nodded. Very well. Mr. Stark, if you would accompany us, the Jedi Council wishes to speak with you. Tony looked at the assembled soldiers, the alien technology, the impossible city stretching to every horizon. He thought about Pepper, about the Avengers, about Earth, possibly in another universe entirely. His damaged armor, his limited options, and the distinct feeling that refusing wasn't really an option. Lead the way, he said. As they walked toward the temple, Tony's sensors picked up something he couldn't quite analyze, an energy field that seemed to permeate everything, invisible but definitely present. It made his arc reactor hum slightly different, as if resonating with something fundamental in this reality. Jarvis spoke quietly in his ear. "Sir, I'm beginning to decode their language. Translation protocols should be fully operational within the hour. But sir, I'm detecting an energy phenomenon I cannot classify. It appears to be everywhere, in everything, including the two individuals escorting us." "Yeah," Tony muttered. "I'm getting that too. Keep analyzing. Something tells me we're not in Kansas anymore." Behind them, on the landing platform, clone troopers secured the area and began scanning the location where Tony had arrived. They found nothing. No ship, no debris, just residual energy readings that made no sense. In orbit above Coruscant, sensors had recorded the spatial anomaly, and that data was already being transmitted to Republic intelligence, Jedi archives, and, through channels far more subtle, to Chancellor Palpatine's private network. The mysterious stranger in armor had just become the most interesting development in the Clone Wars, and forces far more dangerous than Tony Stark could imagine were already taking notice. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The Jedi Temple's interior matched its imposing exterior, all soaring columns, polished stone, and an aesthetic that screamed ancient order of warrior monks. Tony's boots clicked against floors that had probably been walked by thousands of robed mystics over centuries, while his damaged armor's servos whined with each step. He ran diagnostics in his HUD, watching system after system report partial functionality. 70% power distribution, 85% repulsor efficiency, nanotech repair offline. He'd been in worse shape, but not often, and never this far from home. The two Jedi led him through corridors where younger robed figures, students maybe, stopped to stare at the metal-clad stranger. Tony caught glimpses of training rooms where kids who couldn't be older than 10 moved with inhuman precision. Their movements synchronized in ways that suggested either incredible discipline or something else entirely. That energy field Jarvis couldn't classify seemed strongest here, almost tangible in its presence. "Your armor is remarkable," Obi-Wan said conversationally as they walked. "I've never seen its like. The Republic's best engineers would be fascinated by its design." "Yeah, well, it's one of a kind," Tony replied. Jarvis had cracked enough of the language that basic conversation was possible, though the AI was still building its translation database with every word. "Built it myself. The design is proprietary." "You constructed it personally?" Anakin sounded impressed despite himself. "The engineering alone must have taken years. Few months, actually. First version was pretty rough. Built it in a cave with a box of scraps, but I've made improvements since then." Tony studied the younger Jedi. "You're military, right? You've got that look. Combat veteran." Anakin's expression shifted, something dark passing behind his eyes. "I'm a Jedi Knight. We serve as generals in the Grand Army of the Republic. The war has demanded much from the Order." "Monks turned soldiers," Tony said quietly. "That's got to create some philosophical tension." Obi-Wan's measured response carried weight. "The Jedi are peacekeepers, Mr. Stark. We did not choose this war, but we cannot stand by while the galaxy tears itself apart. The Separatists would destroy the Republic and enslave billions." Tony had heard similar justifications before. Good intentions paving roads to hell. He'd walked that road himself with Ultron. And who are these Separatists? What's the war actually about? "It's complicated," Anakin started, but Obi-Wan cut him off with a raised hand. "We're here." They'd arrived at massive doors that opened onto a circular chamber flooded with afternoon light. 12 chairs arranged in a circle, most of them occupied by various alien species in Jedi robes. The diversity struck Tony immediately. Not just humanoids, but beings that defied easy description. And in every single one of them, that mysterious energy pulsed stronger than anywhere else he'd sensed it. In the center chair sat a small green alien with large ears and ancient eyes that had definitely seen some things. When he spoke, his voice carried absolute authority despite its aged rasp. "Welcome, Tony Stark of Earth. Before the Council, you stand. Many questions we have." Jarvis whispered in Tony's ear. "Sir, that syntax pattern is deliberately inverted. Linguistic analysis suggests extreme age or cultural affectation." "Or both," Tony muttered. He stepped forward, keeping his posture confident, but not aggressive. "The feeling's mutual. I don't suppose any of you know how to send me home?" "Home." The green alien, Master Yoda, based on the other's deference, regarded him with unsettling intensity. "Not of this galaxy you are. Through the Force, sense this. We can. Yet here you stand. Explain, you will." Tony took a breath and laid it out. The experimental arc reactor upgrade, the quantum field harmonics, the catastrophic surge that had torn reality apart. The journey through impossible space, the violent emergence above Coruscant, his damaged systems. He kept the technical details vague. No need to give them a blueprint for interdimensional travel, but gave them enough to understand he hadn't come here intentionally. The Council listened in silence. When he finished, a dark-skinned Jedi with an air of barely contained intensity leaned forward. "This arc reactor you speak of, it's your power source." "That's right. Clean, sustainable energy. Powers my armor, keeps me alive." Tony tapped his chest where the reactor's glow was visible. "Why? You thinking of going green?" "I am Master Mace Windu," the Jedi said, ignoring Tony's quip. "We must understand the nature of your technology. If the Separatists learn of this power source, they will stop at nothing to acquire it. Count Dooku commands resources that could—" "Who's Count Dooku?" Tony interrupted. "Is he the leader of these Separatists?" "He is," Obi-Wan confirmed. "Once a Jedi Master, now fallen to the dark side of the Force. He leads the Separatist military and serves a Sith Lord we have yet to identify." Tony's mind cataloged that immediately. Internal conflict, religious schism. Former member turned enemy. Sith Lord, that's the evil version of you guys? A crude simplification, Mace said coldly, but essentially accurate. The Sith embrace passion, anger, and the dark side of the Force. They seek power above all else. Okay, Tony processed that. So you've got a war between a republic, I'm assuming some kind of democratic government, and Separatists led by your former colleague, who's now a dark wizard. And there's a mystery bad guy pulling strings. Does that about cover it? The council members exchanged glances. A female Jedi with headtails spoke. "You are remarkably calm about encountering a galactic civilization. Lady, I've fought aliens in New York, robots in Europe, and helped save my planet more times than I can count. The galaxy being bigger than I thought. It's actually less weird than some Tuesdays." Tony crossed his arms. "What I want to know is, what do you want from me?" Yoda's ears twitched. "Direct you are. Appreciate this, I do. Want from you, we do not. But understand you, we must. This energy within your device, the Force, it resembles not. Technology unlike any known, you possess. In war times, dangerous this makes you." "Dangerous to who?" Tony's voice hardened. "I'm not a weapon you can point at your enemies." "No one is suggesting that," Obi-Wan interjected smoothly. "But Mr. Stark, you must understand our position. You arrived from nowhere with unknown capabilities during the largest conflict our galaxy has seen in 1,000 years. Both sides would see you as either an asset to acquire or a threat to eliminate. The Separatists have spies throughout Coruscant, Anakin added. By now they know something unusual happened. They'll be searching for you. Tony's jaw tightened. He'd been in this position before. People wanting to weaponize his technology, governments trying to control him, enemies trying to kill him. The Jedi might dress it up in mystical philosophy, but the math was the same. He was valuable, vulnerable, and alone. "So what's your play?" Tony asked bluntly. "Lock me up for my own protection, dissect my armor, try to reverse engineer the arc reactor." "We are not the Senate," Mace said, and there was definite distaste in his tone. "The Jedi serve the Republic, but we answer to the Force first. Your technology is your own, Mr. Stark. However, we cannot simply release you into Coruscant's underworld where Separatist agents could find you." "Protective custody," Tony translated. "Dressed up nicer, but still custody." "Consider it a guest arrangement," Obi-Wan suggested. "You need time to repair your armor. We need time to understand the nature of your arrival and ensure your safety. And perhaps we might help each other." Tony studied them. The old green one emanated wisdom that felt genuine. Obi-Wan seemed honest, if politically careful. Anakin was harder to read, intensity barely contained, something driving him beyond simple duty. Mace viewed Tony as a problem to be managed. The others radiated varying degrees of curiosity and concern. But underneath it all, Tony's instincts screamed caution. These were powerful beings who believed in mystical forces and destiny. They fought a war they claimed not to want. And somewhere in their political structure, something felt wrong. He'd caught the way Mace had said, "the Senate," with barely hidden contempt. "Jarvis," Tony subvocalized. "Analysis." "Sir, based on limited data, they appear sincere in their immediate intentions. However, I must note, their technology is inconsistent. Faster than light travel, energy weapons, and advanced droids, yet no networked computing infrastructure I can detect. Their society shows signs of stagnation, despite advanced capabilities. I recommend cautious cooperation while gathering more information. Smart AI." Tony came to a decision. "All right, here's the deal," he said. "I'll stay here while I fix my armor. I'll answer reasonable questions about my arrival, emphasis on reasonable. But my technology stays mine. No scans, no samples, no borrowing components. And I want information in return. About this war, about your galaxy, about how I might get home." "A fair exchange," Obi-Wan agreed before the Council could object. "Master Yoda?" The ancient Jedi closed his eyes for a long moment. When they opened, they held something that might have been amusement. "Agree, I do. Trust must be earned on both sides. But warn you, I must. Arrived at a dangerous time you have. And destiny has a way of entangling even those who seek to avoid it." "Yeah, well, destiny and I have a complicated relationship," Tony said. "I tend to write my own fate." "That," Yoda said softly, "is what every chosen one believes." The words hung in the air like a prophecy, and Tony felt a chill despite his armor's climate control. Anakin shifted uncomfortably, and several council members looked troubled. Before Tony could ask what that meant, alarms screamed throughout the temple. Red emergency lights bathed the chamber, and a holographic display sprang to life, showing a massive Separatist fleet dropping out of hyperspace above Coruscant. Mace was on his feet instantly. A full assault fleet. They shouldn't have been able to penetrate the defensive perimeter. "They've been planning this," Anakin said, his hand dropping to the weapon at his belt. "This is a decapitation strike." Obi-Wan turned to Tony, his calm veneer cracking to show genuine urgency. "Mr. Stark, we need to move you to a secure location. If they're attacking now, it might be because..." Because they want me, Tony finished. They detected my arrival and decided to roll the dice before you could secure me. Then they're fools, Mace said grimly. They've just launched an assault on the Republic's capital for an unknown factor. Master Yoda, we must coordinate the defense. But Tony wasn't listening anymore. His sensors had locked onto the fleet overhead, analyzing their approach vectors, weapon signatures, and tactical formations. His mind was already working the problem, seeing angles and solutions in three-dimensional space. And his arc reactor, damaged as it was, began to hum with building power. Or, Tony said quietly, we give them what they came for. Anakin's eyes widened. You're not seriously suggesting... I'm suggesting, Tony interrupted, that I didn't survive this long by hiding behind other people. You want to see what Iron Man can do? Looks like we're about to find out if technology can keep up with your force.